fill us in on like how previous world champions IG and FPX, the ones that everyone knows, or our audience probably knows, doesn't make it to Worlds, and why we should start caring about the LPL teams that did make it to Worlds.
Well, to me, it's not even just about IG and FPX, because IG and FPX still made top 6. And both of them look like far, far weaker than they did in previous years, obviously. But the big thing to me is that when you look at FPX and IG and EDG and RNG, like all of these old teams that are known for making it to the World Championship, that are known for having deep runs at Worlds, haven't made it. Like there is a full changing of the guard in the LPL where we've got top esports who look obviously insane. JDG, those two teams are like, in my opinion, there's like those two, and then there's a gap, and then there's Suning and LGD, where top esports and JDG look truly exceptional, and I think are both. I put them as the top 2 teams going into Worlds, followed by like Damwon and then maybe G2, and then I think the other 2 LPL teams is a little bit more up in the air.
Convince LS here about like JDG and top over Damwon.
I feel like Damwon, right? Damwon in like I've not watched a ton of LCK, so I'm not going to try and hyper-analyze Damwon here. But my understanding of Damwon is like strength for individual players, right? Through the solo lanes. But I feel like Top Esports is just a better version of that. And also, Top Esports crushed everyone at MSC.
I wish LS, do you want to fix your light here? I can't. I just feel everything.
I know I can't do it. The lamp's not working. I'm so sorry, by the way. Mordekaiser fucking, I'm using some fucked up chroma today, but I can't do anything about this death realm, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, you're in the death realm right now, and Munch is giving you the pressure. What do you think about that?
I don't. So Damwon was very different in spring and MSC than in summer. And I think all of that changed with Beryl and Ghost. I have no idea why Ghost is so high on so many people's radars. It doesn't make sense to me. Like he services himself inside of the team. I don't really know. I'm gonna sound pretty negative Nancy here, and that I think that everything between these like teams colliding is all just sort of conjecture because there's been so much downtime. And if summer showed us anything between all of the regions, it's that apparently 3-4 weeks everyone can just collapse and everything can just go to shit. I do know that a lot of the Korean players are just continuing to play like on Korea. And I've heard that Korean teams are not really, or I know that they're scrimming teams, but they're not actively scrimming against China, and I don't know why that is. So that's surprising. I don't know what's going on there. But I think Damwon is by far and away the best team from LCK. And I think that with T1 not being there and DRX getting in, I think that's doomed. I don't know why G2 is in a top 4 discussion, though. That surprises me, especially because Europe looks so fucking all over the place.
Like the volatility of G2, like it's just...
yeah. Well, just Europe in general. I mean, it was just so. I mean, LEC this year going into Worlds is way weaker than last year. I think everyone would agree on that. I mean, I would hope so anyway. They just look not as solid. Volatility, like you were just saying. G2 are. I mean, they're very, very good, but I think Europe as a region looked very vulnerable towards the end.
Push back on that personally. Like from
G2...
watching all the games, like at least from my perspective, I would say that G2, like I don't think that Europe as a region looked super strong coming into Worlds. I think it was just G2 looked really good going into Worlds last year from Europe. Like I didn't think the level of like Splice, for example, was particularly impressive. Like I wouldn't say that Splice looked better coming into Worlds last year than Rogue looks coming into Worlds this year. I would just say that like before G2 looked like they were one of the best teams in the world. Like going into the World Championship, everyone said that G2 is probably a top 2, top 3 team, maybe top 4 team, definitely going into the World Championship. So I think that G2 being so good last year kind of like raised the overall level in people's minds of Europe more than like Europe as a whole being strong. That's what I would say. But
I do think that there's something to be said as well about G2 being a team that always levels up when it comes to playoffs, when it comes to pressure situations. Like every single time you see them going into best of 5, like G2 and best of 5 is a totally different beast. So I think that there's an extent to which I'm willing to give the shenanigans of this year kind of a pass, especially in the context of G2, just because, I mean, Caps especially is just...
Yeah,
he's a fucking monster, man. Like, I cannot fucking wait to see Caps against Knight, Caps against Chovy. You know, I'm so sad that Rookie isn't going to be at Worlds. Like, there's going to be some insane mechanical plays coming out of the mid lane. Like, I just want to see LeBlanc games. There are so many great LeBlancs coming into this tournament. Like, it's going to be nuts.
Yeah, Zoe games.
Yeah, Zoe too. Yeah,
I think a sentiment that everyone's kind of feeling is like this. To me, it goes back to 2015, where it felt like all the Eastern teams were rated way higher than the Western teams. This was Coup Tigers, SKT, Flash Wolves, AHQ, EDG, KT, Rolster, all finishing in the top 8. There was only 2 teams. Yeah, there was 2 Western teams. It was Origin and Fnatic playing in 3rd, 4th. That made it. But like, that's what it feels like to me. This feels like a very Eastern major region top heavy tournament. And then everyone else, G2 slotted in there a little bit higher, probably again, like 4, 5, 5, 6. And then after that, it's just give me any LCK team.
I don't know if I necessarily fully agree, because I think that the key thing is not that, like, I think LCK and LPL look exceptionally strong, but I think it's the top teams look exceptionally strong. And I think underneath Damwon, there's a gap between Damwon and everyone else in LCK. And I think it's the same with JDG and Top Esports and the rest of the LPL. So I think there's space there underneath those top 3 teams for especially LEC teams, for example. And potentially there'll be someone that comes out play-ins, that comes out swinging or something. Like, I don't know who else fills that slot necessarily, but I think there's a big gap there that can be filled by these teams.
Hard for LEC teams, like just with the groups that we're drawn and everything.
Yeah, for sure. Feel bad for Rogue.
Yeah, especially. Go for it, LS.
No, I was gonna say that Korea. I feel like Korea has 2 teams, pretty much. DRX just if they win games, it's because they're committing robberies. I would imagine. After group stage, it's like Chovy has to just be a god, and they have to stumble upon fortunate drafts, or I think that everything just like shits the bed. So that's a little unfortunate. Groups are going to be really interesting. Obviously, Group C is exciting. Group A is just super free, right? Like the 2 team.
Hey, you better watch out. Team Liquid might get into that Group A and do some damage. You want to see some Broxah versus SOFM? I believe in.
You want to see some Broxah versus SOFM?
Look, I know you guys are just haters because you see Broxah's played like 150 games in CN solo queue. He's Diamond 1 with 40% win rate, but I don't care about any of that. Like, I know strength. I remember Worlds. I saw 2018. This guy's gonna show up. He's gonna prove everyone wrong. And that's the hell I'm dying.
Hey, Dom. You just signed for Team Cloud9. You're no longer on Team Liquid.
I don't want to. This is twice now that he's struggled. In Korea, he complained about Korean solo queue when he had negative win rate in D2.
He
complained about the players. Oh, it's really weird.
You're not paid by Steve anymore. You don't have to say that.
Okay. Well, I mean, all I'm gonna say
really weird.
Okay, maybe I misquoted.
It's a worrying trend, that's for sure.
It's 148 games, 65 wins, 83 losses, 43% win rate.
That's okay. In Korea last year, he complained. He complained about Korean solo queue as he was negative win rate D2. I think it's really interesting that these servers that have very low ping and they're known for having very, very strong mechanical players, he consistently is doing poor against.
Yeah. I can understand frustration from like the jungle role in servers like that though. Like I would honestly say that it is kind of frustrating when it feels like people are just it's impossible to dodge a gank, you know? Like people on the CN server, they are fighting no matter what. If they're getting ganked, it's a 1v2 angle. Like that is their mentality. It's not like, hey, I'm gonna like waste the jungler's time or try to absorb some pressure here. I feel like that as a jungler is like really triggering.
2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Yeah.
No, chat just corrected me 2 years ago.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's the same point. But
Yeah.
that was actually the world championship that he absolutely popped off in, though. So he was playing like a lot more aggressive back then. But I mean, I feel like a lot of playing solo queue in like a region like this is like you just have to go for a lot of stuff. Like you don't have to like find really high quality ganks. It's more just about like showing up in a lane and just the enemy laner will just like into you.